today's matters of the moment, yes, we want to discuss what's really happening, what cybersecurity is all about, what the cybersecurity levy is all about. Now we're heading into this matter because people seemed to be really shocked when it was, proclaimed by the federal government that we will be paying 0.5% levy on our, transactions. That just so because we can, be safe. Because if it's not secured, anybody can move your money at any point. So people were wondering, I thought it's the job of the bank to take care of our monies. Why do we have to pay to be able to feel secured? So a lot of this, has been happening. People calling out the federal government saying, this is another way to, take money from people. This has to be a fraudulent activity. We don't understand it. We don't buy it. So today we'll be trashing this particular issue so that you can be better informed of what cybersecurity really is, and of course what cybersecurity levy is all about. My name is Chioma Agulanna. We'll be right back. Sunrise FM 96.1. Yes, like I already said, we will be discussing issues surrounding the cybersecurity levy. So today we are talking about the cybersecurity, what it really means, what that really means. People didn't know about it. A lot of people, I found out, they didn't know anything about it. They don't know that it takes investing in cybersecurity for your money to be safe wherever you put it, irrespective of the bank. All right, so we'll be discussing the cybersecurity itself and then the cybersecurity level. And I have two young amazing men in the studio to discuss this with me. We have someone to talk about this levy from the eyes of a banker, from the accounting part, from the financial sector, and then we have someone who's in technology to tell us what cybersecurity is all about. Beside me is Chukwu Onyedika Emmanuel. He is the CEO of the Pragmatic Approach. The Pragmatic Approach is a technology company. You're welcome to the studio.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right. Beside me again is our guest. He is Anichie Ndudim. Yes, Anichie Ndudim, an ex-banker and a financial analyst. He is the CEO of Rugon Capital Limited. Is that right?
Yeah.
All right. So welcome to the program.
Thank you.
All right, so we will delve into the matter. Let's see what's really going on. But before I ask them questions, let me read this out. Let's get up to date with what's really going on. All right, now the CBN's decision mandating banks to begin the implementation of the policy, talking about the cybersecurity levy, triggered backlash from Nigerians. All right. Now, the Nigeria's Minister of Information and National Orientation, that's Mohammed Idris, disclosed this while briefing the state correspondents after the Federal Executive Council meeting, which held in Abuja only yesterday. He said the policy is now undergoing review, so it's been suspended for a while. We don't know how long, but it will be back. So it's going to be reviewed and then see what we can do to ensure that Nigerians are not exactly shocked as they were when it was first implemented. All right. Now, the position of the government is that the policy, like I said earlier, has been suspended. It has been put on hold. That is the position of the government for now. It is undergoing some form of review. It was reiterated in the council's meeting yesterday. Yeah, it held yesterday. That's in Abuja. So the person speaking right now is the Mohammed Idris, talking about the Minister of Information and National Orientation. So for now, it's been suspended because of the backlash. They want to do some kind of review. So today's program is to enlighten people. All right, the cybersecurity, should it be paid for? Should it not be paid for? This particular review that the federal government said is doing, what should be contained in the review? What are we to expect? But I'll be starting with Chukwuemeka. Am I right?
Emmanuel.
Emmanuel, right?
Yes.
So please tell us about cybersecurity. What does it really mean?
Oh, okay. Cybersecurity is, should I say, the technologies, the methods you put in place to make sure the data you have, the computers you have, the infrastructure you have is secured. That's what cybersecurity is. It's not just all about technology, it's also a process. And then the technologies you also put in place, the measures you put in place, all comes into cyber security. And then you look at the other aspect of what a cyber attack is, because that is why you have to have security to prevent an attack. So cyber attack is when an unauthorized actor try to get access to data they're not supposed to get, like your banking information. They want to get access to computers, data on networks, other devices, maybe whether it's on blockchain, whether it's a physical device. So those are cyber attacks. Someone trying to get unsolicited access they're not supposed to get over a device or a network or a device or any data.
All right. So when someone who is not authorized to access a certain data, an account, whatever it is, that person is an intruder, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So the cybersecurity is to prevent such people from, achieving their aim.
Yes, exactly.
All right. So that's cybersecurity. Why do you think that the banking sector seems to have made it a priority at this point?
I think finance is a serious topic. Money, and then not just, I know banks don't just store money; they store other personal information, and then it's very important. Not just important; it's super imperative that banks, and not just banks, financial institutions as well, have inadequate cybersecurity methodologies and technologies, because you need to secure people's money, you need to secure people's data, and also there is this issue of trust. If people know that when I put money in this bank, after a while, this money is gonna get lost, I'm not gonna trust that bank anymore. And then there's a whole lot of reasons why the financial sector needs cybersecurity. Apart from the trust you have on your customers, there is this issue of the process of banking, the banking process. If, for example, we invest in a wrong technology and for some reason we suffer from what we call DDoS attack, that's a form of cyber threat, the people cannot actually access the banking service anymore. So we have issues like that happen a lot of times. We say, oh, this banking network is down, we can't access our money, 2 days, 3 days is gone, the app is not opening. These are the reasons why banks need to invest in cybersecurity, because most times they're not just technological glitches. Some of these issues we have can be cyber threats that they are facing.
All right. Okay, so the next question is for you, Mr. Ndu Aniche.
Yeah.
Yes, Aniche Ndudim. Yes. He's an ex-banker, so he would have a lot to say about the levy. So let's talk about this cybersecurity levy that's generated lots of reaction from Nigerians. What is it all about?
Okay, the Cyber Act was passed previously in 2015. Then was now reviewed this year, and an amendment was made this year by the National Assembly and implemented by this administration until the backlash. So it's not a new thing. Before then, I was invited for a program when there was a review of salaries of civil servants, and I told my guests that, look, it's a norm in this country. Once there's a review of salaries, the government will come up with a form of an additional tax to fund the payment of the salaries. And so when the Cyber Act was implemented by the central bank, I laughed. I said, the typical script being played over and over again. And so the act was passed and there's a reaction. And I'm like, I told my guests when I was invited again, I said, I'm not surprised about this. The issue is the implementation and the reaction of Nigerians towards it. Well, we thank God the president has listened to the yearnings of Nigerians and called for a suspension of it. But the issue now is the act still has a life of its own. It's still there, subject to review. It's being tinkered upon, and nobody knows the outcome. I think most likely maybe the rate will be dropped, depending. We can't speculate here. But the most important thing is the government needs money to fund its budget and pay salaries. So these are the underlying issues behind the enactment of this act. If you look at the total payments in the country, as of 2023, it got up to bank payments 600 trillion naira. That's a whole lot. So when you apply 600 trillion by 0.005, you're having 3 trillion. That's a whole lot of money.
That is it.
That's a whole lot of money. So, but my concern is, this is, and the statement from the central bank is to be sent to the NSA that just opened a cybercrime unit. So the question is, how much does the NSA need to run that department? These are the issues.
Okay.
But the underlying, this is what Nigerians should be asking. In fact, this is what even the legislators that passed the bill should have asked. What is the projection of the cost of maintaining this unit? These are issues they should have asked. I'm surprised some of the legislators are now backtracking that the tax is not for Nigerians but for banks and financial institutions. But hey, we all live in this country. Every form of levies that's passed to organizations will be passed down to the eventual users, the eventual Nigerian public. So these are issues we need to ask. I hope, if possible, the legislators will go back again, tinker about it, reduce it, so that we actually know, okay, how much is to be used to fund that unit of the cyber unit in the NSA for the entire duration.
All right. Now, people are arguing, the banks, when they come to you, because there was a time that they would take their forms and they will go to different offices begging you to open an account with them. There was a time that was happening, and they promised, every time they want you to open an account, they keep telling you, oh, I'm going to ensure that your money is safe, my bank is safe, we are secured, nobody can hack into your account. So people are now asking, if you knew that your organization would not be able to secure people's monies that you're even using to run businesses, why don't you use the profits from the monies that you're using to do this cyber security? Do we really need to pay for banking with you? So people are like, should it be paid for?
Okay,
It's the duty of the bank to ensure that our money is safe. Why do we need to pay so that our money will be safe?
Okay, no, this act is not for the banks. It's for Nigerians to fund the infrastructure for cyber units in the NSA. It's not for the banks have their own cyber securities which they've all installed. But the question is, because it's a novel technology and the government needs to keep track of cyber crimes across the entire space. He mentioned the areas, blockchain, web, in fact, all Web3 transactions generally, because that's where the world is heading to. There's even the aspect of artificial intelligence, quantum technology. So these are all Web3 innovations. They're all it's all about data of Nigerians into the space. So the government needs to proactively have its own unit to protect all the assets of all government assets, because also governments have their own networks which they all have to protect, and because there are also linkages with the private sector. An attack on a country's network can distort the entire nation. So the government, yes, I've looked into it and it's okay, they want to build their own units. The question is, how much will be required by the government to invest in this to safeguard the country? These are questions the National Assembly should be asking. These are the questions, if possible, Nigerians should send as contributions to the National Assembly. Hey, look into these areas, because all the legislators might not be fully aware or well informed about these areas. So they need Nigerians with the expertise to give them the information so that they can come to a conclusion and say, okay, the government, this is good, but this is to the extent this can be done. So there are areas where, okay, the government needs to come up and say, okay, we intend doing this. But my own perspective, the whole gamut of it is just a way to fund the budget.
All right. Just before I come to you again, Chukwumara Onyedika, I have one more question for you. and he changed him. Yeah. Now, this cyber security issue that is getting reviewed at this point, in your opinion, how should this revision happen? What can be done? Should it be reviewed downwards? Should it remain the same? What do you think, as an ex-banker, that the federal government can do to make sure that Nigerians, even if they pay, wouldn't have to pay through their nose?
Well, personally, Nigerians have gone through a lot from February this year, when the naira lost value over 100%, from 700 to 1,008 before it came back. So you can see Nigerians' wealth has been badly battered. We're still accommodating removal of fuel subsidy, which is a good thing, with impact on Nigerians. People's funds, people's savings have been wiped out. I would not really support this levy, in all honesty, because Nigerians are going through a lot. We're talking about also removal of subsidies in energy costs. So people's energy bills is also on the rise. So it's a lot Nigerians are going through. And to what extent can we endure this push?
So this is not the right time for the federal government to start implementing a cybersecurity levy. This is just not the right time, yes?
Exactly.
It should be suspended maybe indefinitely until things are back to normal.
Now, my take is the law itself, which still has a life of its own, should be reviewed by the National Assembly and completely repealed. Then we'll have a breather. That's the only way out. But for it to be suspended, it still means it has a life of its own and could be revisited. Most likely, maybe the rates will be dropped down. But there are ingenious ways of funding. And again, another thing, you see, at this time we should be talking about investments to drive productivity, to improve the private sector for more growth, because it's the private sector that drives growth. Currently, the government is investing on itself, and we know that government does not generate income for the country. Government does not generate taxes on its own. So even the NSA, it's even a cost, is a cost center. It's not a revenue generating center. We should be looking at channeling funds to drive productivity, our power, our refineries. These are novel means where, okay, if the government is saying they're generating this money, they're adding these taxes to expand our refineries, to expand the national grid, it's a welcome idea. Nigerians will buy into it. Nigerians will support it. But for this levy to fund a cost or a consumption unit, it won't fly very well in the midst of Nigerians.
All right. In case you are just joining us, this is ETV channel 50. You can also watch us on Star Times 113. We are talking about issues surrounding cybersecurity and cybersecurity levy. In the studio with me, I've been discussing with Aniche Ndudim. He is an ex-banker and a financial analyst. He is also the CEO of Rugon Capital Limited. I also have with me in the studio Chukwuonedeka Emmanuel. He is the CEO of a Pragmatic Approach. The Pragmatic Approach is a tech company, a technology company, so they know a whole lot about cybersecurity. Now coming to you, Chukwuonedeka Emmanuel, yes? How are people able to penetrate into people's accounts? What can people do to dictate when something, say a link? What can they do? Like some people, the way they got frauded is because they clicked on a link. How can they dictate when something is about to go wrong with their accounts? All right, talking about recently, there is this actress, I'm trying to remember her name, Susan Patrick. Is that her? I'm trying to remember her name, but sometime 2 weeks ago, she came online crying because she was at home on a Saturday morning, her ATM card was with her, everything was in place, but someone transferred 3.6 million naira from her account, leaving her with only 20,000 naira. Somehow she called out the banks and they were able to refund the money. How does this happen? What can people do to be more careful?
Okay, cybersecurity in terms of personal protection. So let's leave the banks aside. Let's talk about the individuals, because perhaps the strength of an actor, or we call it hacker, is on the human error. There is a human error they prey on, so you make some mistakes. So there are a couple of attacks that you can suffer from. Some of them have immediate effect. You notice it immediately. Some take a while. Let me use for example. A couple of weeks back, my sister suffered this particular kind of attack, and then I was able to diagnose and trace where the issue came from. There is this thing we call rootkit. It's a malware. I can install it in a POS machine, and then you swipe your card, you do your POS transaction, put your PIN, you press, and you are gone. Now, the issue is the person behind that malware will not trigger anything immediately, because you can trace it back to them. Okay, I did POS here. So sometimes they give maybe a couple of weeks, 2 weeks, a month, and then what that rootkit does is it has some malware inside it that takes information from your card, takes your card information, so pressing your PIN is picking those data up and is probably sending it to a remote server, or is storing it in that device. So I think I recommended to my sister, of course, I said, please do transfers. I don't move out with ATM cards, because of the kind of knowledge I already have in this kind of situation. Don't put ATM cards in unfamiliar POS. You just stop. In POS, you stop. Just put your card, and then that's one way. I think the bank should also look into regulating the people they give POSs to. You understand? Because of course it's my card, it's First Bank card, for example. I have to go and meet First Bank. My money is gone, but it wasn't a First Bank issue. It is a man in the middle attack. Someone in the middle interrupted my transaction with First Bank. They didn't interrupt per se, they intercepted and then used what they got much later. Then that's first. Then secondly, we look at where individuals have to, on your own, protect yourself. So things like phishing emails. Then earlier on, before now, when they are internet banking, there is this thing we call website cloning. Let me use this smaller word everybody can understand. We come into a website platform, we clone it into a similar website of that particular organization, and then we now send you an email to trick you into clicking the mail. So when you get there, you are seeing the full bank's website. Is that bank you are looking at? And then they ask you about your login credentials. You input those things. They ask you about your token. You just keep adding, and then when you now submit, they've collected the information they are collecting. They will now redirect you to the main website. You have to log in again. So that's what they do for social media attacks. So they get a fake Facebook page, and then you put in your information, and at the end of the day they redirect you back to the original one, but your main information is gone. So that's another way they get information from you. So you kind of see that these things are not like a specific attack. It's not exactly a one channel thing. Sometimes some people have their phones, you just go online, you browse, and then there's this thing that comes up, hardware is telling you, oh, your device is not secure. I know everybody have seen that thing. There's a virus in your device. Please click here to download the antivirus. Then you click on it to download it. Something goes into your phone. What they are targeting is the financial apps in your phone. They target it. They go to the storage. They harvest all the information they have, and most times you don't even know. They stay there for a long while. They monitor your movements. They monitor virtually everything you do on the phone. Your keystrokes, what the messages you are typing, the pictures you are receiving, the pictures you are sending out. So by the time most times you suffer through all those things, your bank might not be hacked. You were the one that was hacked. So with the information that was gotten from you, they use your information as you. So I can log into your bank information with the details I got from you as you, and then go to your bank and perform transactions. So you now see people calling out banks. I'm not defending that banks' infrastructures are not bad. They are not good. Most of them are not. But you see some of these attacks, they stem from the individuals. And a couple of years, 2 years ago, I trained some 500 people on cyber security, protecting yourself online, know how to generate strong passwords, because most people, that's another issue. The ATM pin they have is their date of birth. If you, of course, your date of birth, just press it, or the first 4 digits of their phone number, or the last 4 digits, just to make it easier for you to remember. But this is your money we're talking about here, right? We need to give you something very secure. Don't use one password across all your banking platforms. One attack you suffer here cascades through all of them, and then you fall a victim. And then another issue that people will also need to look into is to know the kind of applications they download on the Play Store. You know VPNs, please. VPNs are not good for transacting online. Don't use VPNs, especially your free ones. You know, download is free. Give you 7 days.
A lot of people don't even know what VPNs. What's a VPN?
A VPN. Okay, let me speak it in a smaller English. I don't want to speak plenty grammar. Remember when they said we can't use Twitter in this country, and we got some apps that can help us through the internet to route our IP address to a foreign IP so that we can open up apps. Yes, a mobile app. So a bank, you use VPNs. You are sending data through that VPN's network. You are no longer using MTN now. You are rerouting through their protocol through your bank. So bad VPNs can steal your information. They call it MITM attack, man in the middle attack. They don't, you at the moment you don't notice. All you know is that you open your bank software, it opens. That's why some banks will tell you this app cannot open, you are using a VPN to transact. And then there are some other bank softwares you download. They'll ask you, please turn off USB debugging in your phone. USB debugging is inside most phones. Don't come if you have ever enabled developer mode in your phone. You know you tap it 4 times, you are not a developer. Give you access to a couple of tools. So there is this option, USB debugging. Most people will ask you not to use it at all. You cannot open the bank if debugging mode is on. So these are the securities the banks, some of them have put in place. Now me as a stubborn person, go and get a free VPN. Somebody told me about it. Network is bad, this VPN makes it very fast. I download it, I open my bank app, and I transact. A couple of maybe 2 weeks and my money is gone. So you understand, it's a complex situation, cyber security, because sometimes these attacks can be from the bank, sometimes it can be from the user. So it's now a question of how do you secure yourself first? Let the banks deal with their own security measures. How do you safeguard yourself? I know many people believe most mobile phones don't have antivirus softwares.
Yeah.
They do have. There are some couple of good antivirus softwares you can put in your phone. There are some other, of course, iPhone people, they believe we are secured.
Yeah.
So it's that belief. So let's keep it aside. So when we download wrong files, visit wrong platforms, and you may not know, unsuspecting, you just download, you get infected, and then your money is gone. Guess who you are blaming? The service provider.
Yeah.
Is your bank. I mean, you go online and you call them out. But most times, security, even like police, we say, starts with you. It starts with you first.
All right. I remember a time when someone sent me an app. You know how you go on Netflix, you have to pay 4,000 naira every month to be able to watch movies on Netflix. So I get to pay, but someone now sent me a link to a certain app where I get to see all those movies for free. I was so happy that I was telling a friend of mine, like, see this one, no, maybe not they pay 4,000 every month, maybe we watch movie. The guy was like, if it feels too good to be true, there's a problem. He called it the Trojan attack.
Oh,
is that what it is?
That's terrible. That's one of the most
gift.
Yes, he said it's the Trojan attack.
It's one of the most terrible issues you can face, because it's like the devil's gift.
Yeah.
You give you something good, and on the other hand, they are taking a lot. Trojans are very bad. Trojan horses, and they come in as unsuspecting. Like you said, hey, Netflix app is free, and they call it Netflix mod. It's modified. They have hacked it. It's free. You can now do kind of things.
Just watch movies.
Yeah, we can watch
new movies.
Of course, the truth of the matter is, if I can sit down to bypass Netflix's authentication system to show you movies to watch for free, do you think I'm not getting anything from it? Because this is what people need to know about cybersecurity: is the actor, we call them actor, the hacker has something they're looking for. No free app is online.
Yeah.
I don't use free apps. I pay for it.
It's true.
Because of the kind of work I do and the kind of data I kind of manage. You rarely see me have free softwares. I don't. Another issue there's another mod of WhatsApp called GB WhatsApp. There's another one that came out after GB WhatsApp. We don't know what these things are. You download it, gives you a couple of features. You can hide chats, you can do a couple of things. But me that made that chat, I can get an app now, redesign the app, just like what I was experimenting from 2 days back. Google has an AI called Gemini, so I had to replicate what Gemini does in an app. Package it looks exactly like Gemini, but that was for educational purposes, for the people I was teaching AI and Android development. So something like that, I can easily do that. Say, ChatGPT 4 is free now on my app. Everybody wants to use ChatGPT 4, and then I package it. And in the end, as you are writing your prompt, I'm stealing your information.
We've been talking with people who know what they need to know in their different fields. Okay. Now we've been talking to, we spoke to Anichie Ndodim. He is an ex-banker and he is also a financial analyst, the CEO of Rugon
Capital Limited.
Yes, Rugon Capital Limited. Yes. And we also spoke to Chukwu Onyedika Emmanuel. He is the CEO of the Pragmatic Approach. He is someone who does a lot of tech. His company is a tech company. I want to appreciate you for really coming.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for coming. Yeah.